Welcome to the Overworld. Wes here, and today we're going to look at one of the simplest and most useful builds you can do in Minecraft. This build can be done very early in a new survival world. It doesn't require redstone, doesn't require a lot of experience, but it does give you unlimited XP. I'll show you how to collect XP fully AFK and how you can get hundreds of XP just while you're sleeping or otherwise away from the game. So when you come back to the game, you'll be able to enchant your tools, repair tools or armor or weapons. It'll make your gaming experience a lot more fun. This is really the heart of it right here. Notice that this is a block and a half tall right here. This is where skeletons are going to come down and be contained. Now I've got half slabs underneath this with hoppers because the drops, the bones and the arrows and other things will drop through the half slabs into the hoppers. You don't have to do this. You could set this up and just stand next to it and collect arrows and bones. But I've got a hopper chain right underneath here. I'll show you where that is, and I'll give you a little more detail on it in a minute. But that hopper right there feeds into another one that goes up into those. So that allows me to put all the drops and everything into chests. Now, I'm actually discarding most of them. But depending upon where you are in the game, you may want to keep them. The basic mechanics of this are based on the fact that the dogs will attack the skeletons without any provocation. Unlike other mobs where you have to attack the mob or the mob has to attack you, the dogs will automatically go after the skeletons. Now notice that the skeletons' heads are up there behind that block, and when they shoot the arrows, they go right into the block. So anywhere in this room, you can be AFK, or you can be working in here, gathering resources or whatever. Notice that I put these chests around the walls and everything. You can collect XP anywhere in here. Now fundamentally what's going on here is there's a skeleton spawner up there. That is a water ladder right there. There's a lot of videos on how to make water ladders. But the skeleton spawner in this case is directly over, I think it's this block. Let me look at my map here, hang on. Yeah, it's directly over the 350 in the Z. Yes, it's right up there, directly over that block. So we've got the skeletons coming down here. We make sure that the pad that they land on and where they're collected is more than 8 blocks away. Now in this case, I think it's about 10 in the Z and 8 in the Y. When you leave the room, you want to make the dogs sit so they don't come running after you. But let's go up and take a look at where that spawner is. The reason you want to be more than 8 blocks away is so that the spawner will keep functioning. In this case, the dogs are going to be taking the mobs out anyway, but it'll make your XP count go a little bit higher if you make it so that the pad that they land on down there is more than 8 blocks away. Now, I put some redstone in here so I can light this thing up so I can work on it and look at it. You don't have to do this, but I just put these lights in here. So here I am standing right at the top of the center where the spawner is. So notice it's 350 in the Z and 24 in the Y. We're about 3 blocks above the spawner. Let's go down and take a look at that. Now that we have it lit up, we won't be attacked by the skeletons. Get a little block here so I can take a look in here. So you can see that we've got just like a standard water collection room. There's a lot of videos on how to do this. But I'll give you a little bit of detail on this. I don't think you need a tutorial on this. If you want me to, I could do one. But this is pretty simple. Notice, I'm just going to climb out here a little bit so I can get a better look at this. Okay. So notice that's the way that I have them going in, that the water flows into there. There's a water ladder in there. There's a water block there in that corner. And then there's another water block there in that corner. And then you just let the water flow down, and where it stops, you just knock the blocks out underneath. What I do in survival is just set up a little pillar down there and stand on it. And then in there you use signs, okay, to block the water, make it so that you can alternate water blocks going up, and the mobs will swim up. Now in this case, notice I put a half slab on top of the spawner. That just makes it so the skeletons don't spawn on top of that, and you don't lose 1 or 2, okay? Now in this case, I brought them up the water ladder just to make it easier for the dogs. I tried doing it without damaging the skeletons, and it just took more dogs, and it took a little longer for the dogs to collect the XP to knock off the skeletons. If you're really early in the game and you don't even want to build a water ladder, you could just have these guys drop down. Make sure you drop them down about 8 blocks away, and then make it so the dogs can attack them. You might have to have a few more dogs to do that. So here we are. This is where the water ladder starts. Notice the sign right there that just makes it so you can put the first block on top of it. And then you just alternate blocks of water and air going up. The way I do it in survival is I just dig a 1x2 tunnel going up. That way that, you know, if something falls, it doesn't fall on top of you when you're digging up. So let's go back in here and take a look at how many skeletons we've collected while we were walking around up there. So you just got to tap the dogs and let them attack the skeletons. And what I like about this design is you can also knock off the skeletons if you want above the dogs, and you won't hurt the dogs. So that makes it easy to collect XP if you want to manually. So now we're going to let the dogs sit again and go up and look at the water ladder and the drop. So we're climbing up next to the drop here. Notice that when I dug this, I dug a 1x3 trench here. This made it really easy. I did have a lot of gravel and sand in this area falling down, so when I was digging, I was just standing off the side and letting it drop down while I was going up these, this 1x3 trench here. And then this is the ladder they're coming up. Notice that this water going across the top is stopped by that sign there and that sign there. That just makes it so that when they drop down, they are about the 10 blocks away from the spawner. That's the water ladder coming up right there, so it's alternating water blocks coming down. That's the last block on the top of it. Okay. So the mobs just go over, they drop down. They're about 10 blocks in this direction, and about 8 blocks down below the spawner. So here they are. That's the head sitting right there. You can see the dogs in there, right just next to them. So let's go back in here and let the dogs take care of the guys that we're collecting while we were up above. You can hear them shooting arrows at you, but notice they don't hit you. The arrows won't hit you anywhere in this room. Okay. So just hanging out here. I notice how I put stairs going up to that thing. I like to stand here while I'm AFK right next to it, because then the XP comes right over to me. But you could be, like I said before, anywhere in the room. I put the stairs there to make it so the dogs can get up to it really easily. I initially put blocks there. That would work through. The dogs could jump up there. They can't jump the block and a half, though, so that's why the stairs are there. And then, you can see how I decorated this place out. Let's sit these guys down. Now, you recall that in there, where that dog is, I put like a kennel in there. You don't have to do that. You only need, 2 or 3 dogs at the most. Let's go down. I put a little enchanting room in the back here. Just, you can put this wherever you want. You can actually, leave this open, exposed to. In those chests, I've got, armor and things. This just shows you how I did the little storage area. See, I've got the chest sticking through the walls, and then if you put the glowstone on top of them, they can still open and everything. That's just the way I do storage rooms when I want it to be pretty compact. This is a sorter here. I'm sorting out the arrows. That's something I wanted to collect. Now, pretty soon, I'm going to just start discarding it, but that's right underneath where they're standing. Okay, so. And then this is how a little sorter works. Okay, 1 item in that hopper, and then 18 in that one with the other little spots full with 1. And I just put these 2 chests here. It's basically an overflow. Now all these 6 chests here are full of arrows. I didn't collect the bones because I've got another way of collecting bones, but just enough arrows to last forever. Okay, lots and lots of chests of arrows. And then I took the hopper chain across the top here and then down, and this is just a way to discard everything else. You may want to keep some of the armor and other things that are coming from the mobs. Actually, I'm finding the armor may actually be useful. You can use it to enchant things that, for enchantment levels that you don't want. You know how sometimes you're enchanting and you put your armor in there or something, and you don't get anything that you're interested in. So then you can just throw in some of the armor that you get from these guys, enchant it, discard it, and then you'll get another shot at getting enchantments that you're interested in. You'll certainly have plenty of XP to do that. Now, I didn't mention that the water ladder goes up about 16 blocks above where it comes out of the spawner, and then it drops down about 21. I usually just adjust it to get the kill level that I want, but you want to make sure that this pad that they're landing on here is more than 8 blocks away from the spawner. Now, let's go off. I'll show you how to use your Xbox to make it so you can get long AFK sessions. So the first thing you do is hit the center white Xbox button and get to this screen. Then go to all settings, go down to the gear, and then it's power and startup in the all settings menu. And then you go to power mode and startup. You'll see that here in just a second. Okay. Then go to this turn on and off. And then the default is 1 hour of inactivity. I set it for 6 hours of inactivity, but if you want to, you could put it, let it run indefinitely. I set it to 6, then you can just pop back out, go back into your game, and you're ready to collect a lot of XP. I've done a few tests on this device, and you start at 0, you get about 40 XP in an hour, and then you'll get upwards of 80 or 90 in 6 hours. Now I'm going to cut out to a video clip that I made early in this build. When I was standing pretty far away from the little collection area here, I want to show you that the XP doesn't always flow to you. So you do kind of want to stand within 4 or 5 blocks of the area that the dogs are taking out the skeletons, so that the XP will come to you like that. And the XP will dissipate if it sits around for more than 5 minutes. So when you're done working in here and you want to drop Steve off, you want to keep him within 3 or 4 blocks of this, or you'll lose some of the XP that's being collected. Now, if you want to know how to find a skeleton spawner, you can check out my video called The Quest for a Skeleton Spawner, and check out the methods that I use to find them. Now, since I found this spawner and built this system about 5 days ago, I've collected over 300 XP, well, mostly while AFK. I used that to enchant out all my multiple sets of armor, repaired all my tools and weapons, and now I'm just out running around in some of the chunks that are spawned on the real edge of my world since the game has been updated. I hope you find this as useful as I have. This is Wes, and I'm out.